First of all, we will define the science. Science is a systematic and organized knowledge. We can categorize the science in two parts. One is the physical science. In physical science, we have the two domains. One is physics and another is chemistry. And second category is biological science. In biological science, we have the two branches. One is the botany and another is the zoology. Physics is concerned with the nature and natural phenomena. Chemistry is related to the compounds, their structures, their formations, their reactions, etc. Botany is related to the plants and zoology is related to the animals. So we can categorize science in two ways, physical and biological, and our interest is in the physics. Now, in any physical process or any physical process, we will have some fundamental forces are there. Now, the fundamental forces we can divide in two categories. One is the macroscopic and microscopic, as we have explained earlier that we can divide the physics in two parts, macroscopic and microscopic. So here also the forces, the fundamental forces can also be divided in two parts, macroscopic. Macroscopic in this, the distance is measurable in laboratory or terrestrial or astronomical. So one type of force is gravitational force and another is electromagnetic force. So these two are in the macroscopic. Then in microscopic is the distances are of atomic level, means they are in the range of 10 raised to minus 8 to 10 raised to minus 14. That is in the nucleus or in the atom. And here we have strong nuclear force and second is weak nuclear force. So these four forces are the fundamental forces which are applied in physics everywhere. Now first of all we will develop the gravitational force. Now what do you mean by the gravitational force? And who first discovered the gravitational force? It was Newton who discovered the gravitational force when he saw an apple was falling from the tree towards the earth. The question was why the apple is falling towards the earth, why it is not going upward. So that was due to the gravitational attraction. So Newton gave the gravitational law, and according to gravitational law, the force between two masses, gravitational force is a attractive force. It is between two masses separated by a distance r. Then the force is equal to, the force is proportional to the product of masses m1 into m2, and force is inversely proportional to the distance between this, is 1 by r square. So this force is equal to g, the proportionality constant, multiplied by m1 into m2 divided by r square. So here g is the universal gravitational constant. So we will take for the gravitation more detail in the next lecture. Now the gravitation forces are responsible for the motion of the satellite, the motion of moon, the motion of the planets around the sun. These are all due to the gravitational forces. The free fall of the body. These are all the examples of the gravitational force. The range of gravitational force is large. It starts from 10 raised to minus 6 meter to 10 raised to 28 meter and even more than that distance. So the range is very far Now second type of force is the electrostatic force. Electrostatic force is the force between the two charges. This force can be attractive as well as the repulsive. Force is attractive when the charges are of different nature, and the force will be repulsive if the charges are the same nature. If Q1 and Q2 are two charges, then the force between these two charges which are at rest is proportional to the product of their charges. And also this force is inversely proportional to the square of distance. So between the two charges which are stationary. So this force is proportional to Q1 and Q2 and it is inversely proportional to R square. The proportionality constant is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, and here epsilon 0 is the permittivity of the vacuum or free space, and the value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 is 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton into meter square divided by Coulomb square. Now with the help of electromagnetic forces, mostly the physical processes are due to the electromagnetic forces. Just we can take the example of the surface tension force, the viscosity force, are cohesive forces, adhesive forces. These are all frictional forces, the contact forces. These are all of the electromagnetic nature. Now third type of force is strong nuclear force. This is under the head of macroscopic because these forces are in the nucleus only, and the size of nucleus is 10 raised to minus 14 meter. So this is a very short range forces are there. Outside the nucleus, these forces are equal to 0. Means the strong nuclear forces is only in the nucleus and its range is of minimum, that is 10 raised to minus 14 meter. Now, what do you mean by the strong nuclear field? Now in nucleus, we have protons which are positive charge and neutron which are the neutral charges. If protons and neutrons, they are bind in the nucleus because of the strong nuclear force. Because if we take the force between the two proton or two neutron are gravitational, then gravitational force is a very weak forces. It's the weakest forces. And we can say that when the protons are positive charge, then there is the electrostatic forces. But there will be repulsion between the two protons. So the nucleus cannot be formed. So we cannot explain the formation of nucleus by the gravitational force and the electromagnetic force. It is due to the strong force, and which is the nuclear force. Nuclear force is attractive force between proton-proton, proton-neutron and neutron. Proton and neutron are known as the nucleons because they are the part of the nucleus. So there is no distinction. There will be a attractive force between the protons. There will be a repulsive force. Not possible in the nucleus. There will be only the protons are attracted and neutron are attracted and neutron proton. So there is a strong force between them, and this force is the strongest force of all the fundamental four forces. Now we can explain the binding of the protons and neutrons, the nucleus, by the strong nuclear force. We can explain the radioactivity. Radioactivity is a phenomenon in which the alpha particle or beta particle or gamma rays, they are coming from the nucleus, and this is a random phenomenon. This phenomenon is not influenced by temperature, pressure and anything. And we can also explain nuclear energy with the help of strong nuclear force. So this is the third force, which is the neutron. It is the strong nuclear force which are responsible for the formation of nucleus, where protons, neutrons, they have attractive force in between them. Now, fourth is your weak nuclear force. The weak nuclear force, this is also a microscopic force, because this force is also applicable in the nucleus between the nuclear particle or elementary particle. Elementary particle means proton is the elementary particle, electron is the fundamental particle, elementary particle, neutrino is the elementary particle, and there are 108 elementary particles are there. So in the nucleus there is a force which is the force of reaction due to the weak nuclear force. We can take the example of beta decay. In beta decay, neutron changes to proton and electron and neutrino. So the interactions between this reaction, electron and neutrino, is due to the weak nuclear interaction. It cannot be explained by strong nuclear force, and it cannot be explained by electrostatic force and the gravitational force. So this is all about the four types of the forces. Now if we compare the gravitational force, electrostatic force and nuclear force and the weak nuclear force, then the ratio between the gravitational force, electromagnetic force, weak nuclear and strong nuclear, then if it is in the ratio 1 is to 10 raised to power 36 is to 10 raised to power 25 is to 10 raised to power 38. So here we say the gravitational force is the weakest force, then the weak interaction is higher than this, and the electromagnetic force is still more stronger, and nuclear force, strong nuclear force, is the strongest force in the nature. So this is all about the four basic forces which are there in some physical phenomena. Now, what do you mean by that? Then we take the next is your one, conservation law. Now, what do you mean by the conservation law? In physics, we study the laws of nature and their natural phenomena. For these phenomena, some forces are there, some physical process are there. In the process, physical process, or in physical process, some of the quantities which are conserved. Conserved means which are constant, and that quantity is not as the conservative quantities, and these laws are conservation law. So in conservation means that is a constant, that will not change in the physical. So in any physical process, there is some quantity which is constant, and that quantity is known as the conserved, physically conserved quantity, and the laws governing that, it is known as the law of conservation. Now we will study four basic law of conservation: conservation of energy, conservation of momentum, conservation of angular momentum, and conservation of charge. Basically, the conservation of energy we will study later on in very detail. Similarly, the conservation of momentum we will also study later. The conservation of the angular momentum, but conservation of charge we will be study in the 12th class. So we can explain all these conservation laws separately. We will discuss conservation of energy. Now, conservation of energy law can be defined as in any changes in the universe, the sum of energy will be constant. Or we can say, in the other word, energy cannot be created or energy cannot be destroyed. Energy can be converted in one form to another form. There are many types of energies are there. One is the mechanical energy, where potential energy is kinetic energy there. Heat is also energy, light is also energy, sound is also energy, nuclear energy is also energy, electrical energy is also energy, magnetic energy is also. So these are all forms of energy. In physics we will study all type of energies. So according to the conservation of energy, total energy of the universe is constant. In the universe there are many type of phenomena are there. There is a fission is there, fusion is there, storms are there, volcanoes are there, chemical reactions are there, physical reactions are there. So there are many types of. So the total sum of energy of the universe will always be constant at every instant. Now we can first take the case of mechanical energy. If we take the mechanical energy means mechanical energy is sum of kinetic energy and potential energy. Now mechanical energy is conserved only and only when the force is conservative force. Now what do you mean by conservative force? Conservative force is that forces for which work done doesn't depend upon the path. Second property is the work done around the path is also equal to 0. So if the force is conservative force, then the mechanical energy is conserved. It means the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy will be constant. Potential energy may be converted to kinetic energy. Kinetic energy may be converted to potential energy. In between, the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy will always remain constant. We can take the example for this, the example of pendulum. We have a pendulum. This is a pendulum and it is at the rest. Now the pendulum is here. Then it will have a potential energy. Its velocity is equal to 0. So kinetic energy is 0. If we leave it, then it will come this side. The potential energy will be converted to kinetic energy. Here potential energy will be 0. Kinetic energy will be maximum. And it will go this side. And here the kinetic energy will be converted to potential energy. And again, here potential energy maximum, so it will return back and it will do motion, free motion. Now, here, if there is no air resistance, if air resistance is there, then you will say, if you start the oscillation here, then after time, the amplitude of the oscillation will decreasing and ultimately it will be stopped. It will be stopped. Why it will stop? It means the potential energy and kinetic energy interconversion is not perfect. There is a frictional energy between the air. So, and every time there is a loss of energy. So we can say the sum of kinetic energy, potential energy plus heat energy will be constant. Then due to friction it will be converted. So here potential energy plus kinetic energy plus heat energy, that will be a constant quantity. So second thing we can say the free fall of body. If the body is freely falling, suppose the body is there, this body is here and it is at the height h. here the potential energy will be equal to m into g into L, where m is the mass of the body, g is the acceleration due to gravity, and h is the height from the surface of the earth. Here kinetic energy is equal to 0. This is straight. Now when it falling, then here potential energy will be converted into kinetic energy. Potential energy will be decreasing, kinetic energy will be increasing. At this point, potential energy will be 0 and kinetic energy is maximum. If we take in between them, then sum of kinetic energy plus potential energy, that will be equal to potential energy maximum, or this is equal to kinetic energy maximum. Potential energy maximum will be at this point, at the top. Here the potential energy will be maximum. Here kinetic energy will be minimum. Potential energy will be minimum. So here the potential energy is converted to kinetic energy. If we take the in-between position, here position, then it will have kinetic energy as well as the potential energy. Sum of the kinetic energy and potential energy at any state, it will be equal to the maximum potential energy, or it can be equal to maximum kinetic energy. So in this way, we can say the mechanical energy is conserved when the body is free fall due to the gravity. Now third is Einstein. Einstein gave a relation. This is a famous relation. Delta E is equal to delta M into C square. Delta M is the loss in mass. C is the velocity of light. Then the product of loss in mass and the square of the velocity of light, that will be equal to the energy. So Einstein given new idea that even mass is also a form of energy. So here we can say that the total energy may we have to add mass also. So energy plus mass, this will be constant. So for the universe, there are many type of changes are there. So the total energy and total mass of the universal will always remain constant, because in the sun there is a nuclear fusion, and nuclear there is a loss of energy, and that energy is converted into the light and heat energy. So here we can say the total energy of the universe plus total mass of the universe will be always constant at any instant. So this is all about the conservation of energy. Now next is your second is your conservation of momentum, linear momentum. Now what do you mean by linear momentum? Linear momentum is represented by P, and P is equal to M into V. P momentum is given, P will be equal to M into V. P is momentum, and I get arrow, which is the vector quantity, mass is scalar quantity, and V is vector quantity. So momentum is equal to the product of mass and velocity. So now what is the force? Force is rate of change of momentum. Force is equal to dP by dt. Now if force is equal to 0, then dP by dt is equal to 0, or dP is equal to 0. dP means change in momentum is 0, means momentum is constant. So we can say, or we can define the conservation of linear momentum as when there is no external force on the system, or we can say if the system is isolated system, then the momentum is always conserved. Momentum conserved means the M into V is constant. The product of M into V is constant. So if the body is at rest, means velocity is 0, then body will be remain at rest at every time. If we do not apply any force, then body will not move. Second thing, if the body is moving, its velocity is V, and we do not apply any force, then its velocity will be constant. Mass is constant, so m into v will be constant. So we can say if the body is rest, it will be remain at rest, and if body is moving, it will move with the constant velocity when no external force is applied on it. Now we can give the example for the conservation of linear momentum. Suppose we are having a gun and bullet is in the gun. Before firing, the gun as well as bullet, they are at rest. Means their momentum is equal to 0. As we fire it, then the bullet will go in the forward direction and gun will recoil in the reverse direction. The momentum of the gun will be equal to momentum of bullet but in opposite direction. So we can say the sum of moment of gun mg is the mass of the gun, vg is the velocity of gun in this direction, and the mass of bullet is mv and velocity of bullet is vb in this direction. So the product of mg into vg plus mb into vb, this will be equal to 0, or we can say that mgvb, this is equal to minus of this, means the gun will move in the reverse direction and in this direction. Now the velocity, if we compare the velocity, the mass of the bullet is small, so its velocity will be more. The mass of gun is more, so its velocity. So velocity of gun will be always less than velocity of the bullet. But their momentum are equal. So the gun will recoil with the less velocity in the opposite direction and the bullet will move with the higher velocity in the forward direction. Next we take the example of radioactivity. Suppose this is a radioactive substance A which is at rest, then its momentum is 0. Now if it break up into two parts B and C, this is B part and this is part. So this fragment is B fragment, this is the particle and this is C particle. Suppose this is alpha particle and this is the rest of the nucleus. The mass of this fragment is more than this particle. The mass of this fragment is more, so its velocity will be less. The velocity of the fragment B will be less, the velocity of B fragment will be less than the velocity of this particle Vc. Since the mass of fragment B is larger than the mass of this, so we can say that the product of the mass of B is more than this, the velocity of B is less than this, then the product of m into B multiplied by Vb, this will be equal to minus mc into Vc. So their momentum will be same, but they will be in the opposite direction because these are the velocity direction. Velocity is the vector quantity. So the total momentum of this will be equal to 0. Initially when it was rest, it was 0, but when it is in motion, even then the sum of the momentum, which is a vector quantity, that will be equal to 0. The conservation of angular momentum. Now similar to the momentum, for the motion we have to apply the force, and due to force momentum will be changed. If we want to rotate the thing, then force is not sufficient, torque is required. Torque is required to rotate the body. Now what is the torque? Torque is moment of the force. So torque is necessary for the rotation of the body. Now as here the force was equal to rate of change of momentum. The torque is rate of change of angular momentum. Angular momentum is given by L. So capital L. This is also vector quantity. So similarly, the force was equal to torque is vector quantity. So force was equal to dP by dt. So here torque is equal to dL by dt. If torque is equal to 0, then dL by dt is equal to, or dL is equal to 0, L will be constant. So we can define the conservation of angular momentum as where if no external torque is applied, then the angular momentum of the system is always constant. Once I repeat it, if no external torque is applied, then the angular momentum of the system will always be constant. Now we can give the example. First, there is an example of swimmer. When swimmer is in the air, then he will fold his legs and hand, and he will have some round. Then again he put his hands forward and it is the water. So larger he folds the legs and then the moment of inertia will be less, because L is equal to I into omega. L is equal to I into the. So if we decrease I, omega will increase. L is constant. So in this way he decreases the moment of inertia. He folds his legs and hands towards them. Then the moment of inertia decreases. So angular velocity increases, means he will take the more rotation before coming to the water. Similarly, we can take the dancer. If the dancer is dancing and suddenly he folds his hand. Formerly his hands were there and is dancing or is skating, is the round shape, and he put his legs, hands there. So he decrease the moment of inertia. So omega will, so he will rotate with the fast speed. So this is all about the. We will also study the conservation of the angular momentum detail later. Now fourth is the conservation of charge. Conservation of charge, it means for the isolated system, the total charge is always conserved. Means total charge is always constant. It is similar to the conservation of energy. As we said, the total energy of the universe is constant. Here also we can say the total charge of the universe is constant. Similar to the conservation of energy, we have said that the energy is conserved and it will be changing from one system to another system, or one of the energy is converted to, or we can say we cannot create the energy, we can destroy the energy can shape the form. Energy can be converted into one system to another system, or one type of energy to another type of system. Similarly here, we can say for the conservation of charge, we can say that the charge is neither created or not destroyed. The charge, total charge will be always constant. We take the example of the glass rod, and if we rub the glass rod with the silk cloth, then the glass rod become positive and silk become negative. The positive charge on the silk will be equal to negative charge on the cloth. The negative charge on the cloth is due to the transfer of negative charge, means electron from glass rod to the silk cloth. So it becomes negative and it will become positive. But the amount of charge positive on the glass rod will be same as amount of charge electron on the silk. Now we can take the example of beta decay. In beta decay, neutron is changed to proton plus electron plus neutrino. It is antineutrino. The charge of neutron is 0, charge of proton is +1, charge of electron is -1, neutrino is 0. So 0 is equal to 0. So charge is conserved. We can take the example of nuclear fission. In nuclear fission, uranium-235, 92, uranium-235, when it reaches the neutron N01, then it becomes the beryllium 56, 141 and Kr 36, 91 plus C neutron. Now here this number is known as number of protons or atomic number. So the atomic number here is 92. 92 plus 0 is equal to 92. Here this is 0. So 56 plus 36, 92. So the total charge of positive before the nuclear fission and after the nuclear fission, they are equal. So we can say the charge is conserved in the nuclear fission. Charge is conserved in the frictional electricity. The charge is conserved in the beta decay. Both.